So the final thing that you'll need to know about the HTML block here is how to add a photograph in next to the content on the page. So whether you want to add a photo on the left side of the text over here, or if you want to add a photo on the right side of the text over here, you will always insert your mouse cursor on the left, and we will tell the system which side of the text we want the photograph on after we have uploaded it into the system here. It's also important to note that wherever you insert your photo, that's where the text will come to the top of the photo. So, for example, if I want headline 1, headline 2, and headline 3 to be above the photo, then I want to make sure my cursor is inserted on the body of text below that. If I want the headline to be next to my photo, then I would insert my cursor to the left of that. So I want these headlines up here to be just above my text, so I'm going to just delete those other headlines there. And I'm going to insert my mouse cursor here in front of this first bit of text. So when you're inserting an image, right up here at the top you have what's called Insert Media. And you can see there's a little arrow right next to it. If you click on that, this will drop down a list of items that you are able to upload. And don't worry about the bottom 3 items. That's something that you're typically not going to have need for. This system is quite powerful. You can do a lot of things with it that the average user probably won't need to be able to do. So in this case, we want to go ahead and add an image to the block. So I'm going to click on Image Manager. And this pulls up you could think of it as the hard drive of your website. So this basically is our server where we've hosted all of your website files and all of the images that are associated with your website. So you can see here we haven't uploaded any images as of yet, but on a live site there would be a number of photographs and items and assets that we've used to build the site that has been loaded into this folder here. So if you have an existing image that you've used in the past, you can just select on it from the list here, or you have the option of clicking Upload to upload a new item from your hard drive. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to select a file, and this pulls open my hard drive. So let's go ahead and just load this little DNN logo in here. Press Open. And you can see that it shows you a preview of the name, so you make sure you get the right file here. And all we have to do is press Upload. And there you go. So here's our image. You can see that once you've uploaded an image, it automatically selects it for you. And you have the option to insert this image here. So I'm going to go ahead and push Insert. And now the image is in there. So the problem with the way that it puts the image in by default is it just kind of plops it in there. You can see that there's like some spacing issues here. It doesn't really float around the text in any way. So let's try making the image float on the right side of the text. And give it a little space to breathe next to the text as well. You can see that the text is kind of just smashed right up against the side of the photo. We want to give it some room to breathe and kind of take some presence on the page. So if we click on the photo, you'll see that it highlights blue if you're in Google Chrome, which I am. If you are in Firefox, it will put an outline around it. But as long as you've selected the image, that's what you need to be able to do. And when we right-click on the image itself, you can see that there is a Properties box here. So the Properties is going to be your tool that you will always use to direct where images go and the size of those images as well. So when we click on Properties, this will pull up a box, the Properties box for the image with a lot of options in it. None of these items are ever required except for the image source here, which it puts in for you by default. But you do have the option of interacting with all of these items. So I'm just going to go down the list here, kind of explain what each item is, and you can use your judgment as to whether or not you should use them or not. So the height and width is obviously the size of the image itself. It's specified in pixels, and I realize for the average user that pixels can be kind of hard to visualize. To give you an example, this is about 166 pixels wide. Kind of gives you an idea how wide that is. So we have the option of increasing the size of it, but you can see if you watch the height section here, if I just type in text, it leaves the height but here the same. And notice that it kind of stretches out the image a little bit. But if we go back in here, I'm going to start over, put it back where it was. If we click on the little chain right here, so it's closed like this, that will lock what's called the aspect ratio, aka it'll keep all the proportions the same when you change one or the other. So if we set this to, let's say, 200, you could see that it has changed the height of it as well, and in relation to the change in the width. And this will prevent your images from being squished or looking strange when you change the width. So I've resized this image to be 200 pixels wide, and I would like for that image to be on the right side of our text, which is where the image alignment comes into play. So if we click on the little box right next to where image alignment is, you can see that we have some options here. In this case, I want to select the right side, so I'm just going to click the little box on the right here, and it gives you a little window indicating which side the image is aligned to. We can put a border around it, and again, these are our helpful colors that we've pre-programmed in for you. So we have a green headline that we used before. Let's go ahead and just use green again. And we want to specify a width of that border. So let's just say a 10 pixel width. And you'll get an idea of what 10 pixels looks like in just a moment. Alt text is optional. It does help with SEO, search engine optimization. It's not going to make or break you. It's not going to be the magic pill that gets your site found in the search engines. But every little bit helps. So sometimes it's useful to just briefly describe what the image is of. And traditionally, the alt text is also what is used for the seeing impaired. There's software that when a user hovers over an image, it will describe whatever you specify here. So this is a DNN logo. So now when somebody hovers over it with that software, it will read that out to them and they'll know what it is. And long description similarly works a similar way. It's another way to put some keywords in there. So finally, the thing that you really want to pay attention to down here, the margin, is what is the space between the text and the image. So since we have our image floating on the right side of our text, we want to just give it some space on the left side so that the text doesn't just smash right up against the side of it. So again, let's go with 10. 10 pixels is a nice, good number. You can add more than that, but 10 is a nice starting point just to see what that looks like. And so once we have resized our image, specified that we want it on the right, we're going to have a 10 pixel green border with 10 pixels of margin on the left. And once you put that in there, you can see that's what we've ended up with. To give you, again, just to reiterate, this is about 10 pixels here to give you an idea of what 10 pixels look like. And likewise, there's about 10 pixels of space just to the left of this image. But you can also put 10 pixels of space below that image as well. And that's how you load an image into your HTML module. Anytime you see this editor, which you will see over and over, all of the system is the same regardless of what tool you're using to edit. So let's go ahead and press save, and we can see what that looks like on the page.